Hey, HR friends, welcome back. So we're in the 4-3 emotional 6.5 day sequence. We're going to talk about day six. Day six is right here in this white rectangle. Now, if you haven't watched the overall overview, you see when these awarenesses start, we do an overview for the whole 6.5 day sequence, and it also breaks down how to quickly read these graphs. You can see that in the first part of this sequence, it was laying pretty flat. Day five, we started to take off. We had a little bit of a lift off, and that lift off is going to continue in through day six and into day 6.5. And first person in this next 24 hours, high alert. Do not fall victim to arguing with the people in your own household, at your work, in your community. Why create stress there? That's not going to help you. I promise you that. Also, third person stress is going to bounce up here in the second 12 hours. Super important that you don't get too overly invested and react to what's going on in the bigger picture because a lot of people are getting agitated from both sides right now, whatever they want to see happen. And we're all designed to see this differently. There's no sense in arguing about it. That's not going to help you get healthy. That's definitely not going to help you eliminate your stress. Now, the combined here, we talk about a four. Four is where we start to get concerned. If it's above a four and it holds out at four, it's really activating our defensive design. So again, this is just the heat's getting turned up and it's going to crank up until this thing turns around the other direction and it's going to stay hot, but it's going to reverse while it's hot. So again, be very cautious, prepare for this. This is going to be a couple day stint here we're going to go after. Okay. All right. So let's get down here now. We're going to look at the testing sequence. All right. So as long as you're getting along with everybody and as long as you're balancing your routines, you don't have anything to worry about. Now, this sequence has really been testing the upper left quadrant quite a bit. That was probably the heaviest test load. You can see that that's at that four mark and kind of below here. All right. Right upper quadrant, we're not so high on that either. This is really going to kick up pretty high. So don't be surprised if you feel that left lower quadrant, just because there's so many frequencies testing it here in this next 24 hours. And then you can see that it starts out kind of heavy in the right lower, and then it drops off and it kind of peters out here into the end of this sequence. Now, again, this is what's happening. We're being tested on how we're getting along with these relationships and how well we're balancing our routines. And the numbers of frequencies are just telling you how serious of a day it is about each of these different things that you need to learn and incorporate within the structure of your routine, both, well, all mental, emotional, and physical. All right. So let's get down there. We're going to talk about the zoomed in 24. Now, what we do here is we've got this set to UCT time. Okay. So if you know your time zone offset, and what we really want you to have this for is that knowing these times are going to align with these alignments. Now, remember, on our homepage, healthreconnected.com, we've got a live feed. And all you have to do is open it up, hit play, and a time bar comes up. It shows you exactly where we are in the sequence. If you got to take a picture of this when you have internet, so you just have it on you so you can tell when these alignments are going to come for your time zone and what quadrants they're going to affect, we highly recommend that because this is really an easy way for us to confirm that you're in an interactive biofeedback system. And because we understand the repeating sequence of this biofeedback system, that's how we're able to predict when these moments are going to happen and how you're going to feel if you're out of balance during those moments. And if you're out of balance with your teammates or you're out of balance with your routines, and this is the day in and day out stuff, well, then the frequencies aren't going to match and it's going to cause your headache to start up or your trigger point to come on. Everything that has every rhyme or reason comes from our choices. And this just shows you how important your choices are. Now, there's a lot of them here, so we're going to kind of scoot through them. But in reality, when we're talking about these alignments, just know this: we're only ever being tested on how well we get along with our teammates. So it shouldn't matter if they're older, they're younger, they're male or female. You've got to master relationship with everybody. You got to be able to communicate, cooperate, help them alleviate stress, talk through your stress with them, and coordinate and collaborate about doing objective, meaning your routines are complementing each other and they're ensuring that the time that you're investing is going to help all future families. If you're doing that, you got no worries. If you're not, well, you got to start doing that, or you're going to continue to age and have disease, and all the things that you don't want are coming faster and faster the more you struggle and don't balance. On this side, it's just routines. And it doesn't matter if it's the yellow or the green or if it's the red or the orange. So down here, it's just the family and the individual routines. These are national and world routines. Now, if you're out of balance, it just means that your contributions aren't leaving, your communities and the people that you influence. It's not leaving them better. And overall, it's not leaving the nation or the world better if you're hurting during those alignments. And what you got to do is you got to think about everything at every level, and you got to start to reflect that in your choices. If you don't, well, again, accelerated damage and aging. So let's motor through these. PE, space side, right here, hour and a half. During this alignment, you're going to feel it down here. You know what that relates to. We just talked about it. Now we're going to talk about the PE on the other side. That's this guy right here, hour and 45 minutes long. This is on the time side. This is routines. This is where it's going to hurt if you're out of balance in those smaller routines. All right, next one we're going to talk about is right here. This is the EP. This EP is 9.25 hours long, okay? So 9 hours and 15 minutes. People are definitely going to feel this. And this is going to affect those upper quadrants. So if you start to really notice upper quadrant tension during this time, that's just telling you what you need to start focusing a whole lot more on and making sure that you're doing in your day-to-day routine. All right, now we're going to the MP. That's this guy right here, 3 hours long. Okay. And this is going to test the lower right quadrant. This is teammates again, so you've got to get along with those teammates. All right, so last one we've got here is this ME. It's 45 minutes long. This is going to test smaller routines. If you're out of balance there, it's going to hurt down here. That's how that is. If you want to, we've zoomed this in as well. So this is the testing sequence. Again, the time bar comes through this. You can reference this graph. We have all this. In addition, if you start to get upset or angry, definitely check the live feed and see where this is in the sequence. Because if this is elevated when you're getting agitated, what that means is this: you've just been manipulated. Yeah, that's how this works. It's a little tricky. All right, so these last two graphs, I just like people to know where the strongest frequencies are because these frequencies are really sitting here. The P's are moving every day, but the E's and the M's, they're sitting there for 6.5, 7.5 days at a time. And if you pay attention to these and you really notice, for example, your right shoulder pain comes up when it's just got this E in it, and then when this goes away, it goes away. Well, that's a pretty obvious sign of what it is you got to start working on. Now, in today's, it's semi-balanced here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the left, which means we have 4 on the right. Now, there's nothing here in this upper right quadrant, and there is one right here. So if you happen to have pain in the upper right during this 24-hour period, very likely it's third person or your routines that's causing that pain. Down here, we've got a gap too, nothing on the left lower. Over here, we've got a mess. We've got all kinds of them. But if you get left lower quadrant pain, what we do know is this: it's teammates you need to work on. Okay. And at multiple levels, mental level, physical level. This is mental up here. This is emotional. That's what those letters stand for, just where you need to focus your time and effort. Now, in the other quadrants, there's some overlap in the green and the red quadrants, okay? And again, just document because you can actually plug these times in and our software will show you exactly what's going on so you can get well and start to focus on the things that are going to help you improve your health as quickly as possible. Now, don't overcomplicate this. Commit to your team. Understand that you have to balance your routine. Change has to happen. If it doesn't, death is accelerated, suffering accelerates, and you do this some more until you change your mind. All right. Let's end this out. So we show you all this stuff because we're empowering you without knowing this pattern is coming or when this pattern is going to elevate. It's pretty tricky. It tricks you into being upset and you didn't even know why. Okay. So the more people we give this pattern to, and we give it to you weeks and months in advance, there's no more excuses. You shouldn't be reacting anymore. And why would you want to? It only hurts you and the people around you. Okay, so the more people we get overcoming this pattern, obviously, the bigger effect we can have at the collective level. That is what Health Reconnected is up to. We will see you in the next 24 hours.